So everyone knows by now that Hell Let Loose had a new update recently that brought night maps to the
Our
game.
new OP's going down.
And it added an incredible depth of realism to it. It's
Hell yeah.
made it a ton of fun. It's scary, it's exciting, it's new. It's really cool. But what if I told you that there's a game that has been doing crazier stuff than that for 21 years, I do believe it is. 21 years. And it's will absolutely blow Hell Let Loose out of the water. The only difference is that, unlike Hell Let Loose with the new graphics, the newer graphics, and how it looks, this game still is lacking in that department for the fact that it's a small development team that's been surviving for 21 years off of monthly subscriptions from players. Now you're probably wondering, what game could this possibly be? If this is such a cool game, why haven't I heard of it by now? Well, that's because this game is called WW2 Online. It doesn't have a catchy title. It doesn't sound like Hell Let Loose or Postscriptum. It's just WW2 Online. And so it's not as popular or well known as or broadcast everywhere like games that are newer are. But just because it's an older game doesn't mean it's lacking in a fun time and a lot of new things that a lot of other games don't provide. For example, this game does something I don't know of another game doing, which combines the ability to play as a naval warship, a tank, a plane, or a regular infantryman, a mortarman, an AA gunner, a sniper, anything you can think of, it lets you play as. You can even play as paratroopers, where you have another player fly you into the battlefield, and you jump out of the plane. He flies back to base and picks up more soldiers to drop onto the same drop zone.
Oh man, do we have AT?
And it's been receiving new updates recently, adding even more stuff, like variable capture points, so you don't exactly know where the capture point is every single time you play it. And to top all of this off, you can play as all of these different things on one singular map. There's no second map. There's no end of round. The game lasts as long as it takes to beat the map, which can take, I think the last campaign they had took like 74 days to complete. 74 days of constant warfare. I mean, constant fighting. The game doesn't end till you've completed all necessary requirements on the one singular map to claim victory. Now I'm going to start putting some of the footage in the background of just some normal gameplay, nothing super crazy, just so you can see what I mean by the graphics aren't that great, but there's a ton of possibility in this game. And I want you to be able to see that, and I'm going to tell you some other things about the game while it's going on. With that said, this is WW2 Online. First thing that strikes you is, wow, these graphics are bad, right? But again, this game is from 2001. That's when the servers launched, on June 6, 2001. That's how old this game is. And to be clear, just because it's old doesn't mean it hasn't set records. It literally has 3 Guinness World Records. And I will tell you what those are right now. So this game currently still holds these world records for the first MMO first-person shooter video game, the first massively multiplayer online war game, and the largest playable area in a shooter video game. And according to Guinness World Records, it has a 350,000 square kilometer map that you can play on at any one time in any one area. It does not matter where you are in the map, you can play on it. Now, don't just take it from me. This game has its own Wikipedia page if you want to go and look and learn more about it. It shows stuff like the armor, values and stuff in one of the photos. It shows a bunch of stuff and details of the game on the Wikipedia page, and that's where you can find out stuff like how, as of June 6th, again, another day for them, but in 2021, the developers are now working to port WW2 Online from its proprietary engine to Unreal Engine 5 to modernize the graphics and workflow. So they're trying to take it from what it looks like now, what you're seeing on the screen, and bring it up to something closer to what Postscriptum looks like and Hell Let Loose. And on top of trying to take the original game and make it in Unreal Engine 5 and make it so it's still functional and still has like the largest map and all of that, they're also building a secondary, smaller game called World War II Online Choke Point, which is a lot more similar to like Hell Let Loose and Postscriptum, but still its own in the sense of that game will focus on 4 squads of 4 fight each other in tiny maps and fight over the maps for objectives, and that's what they're working on now, along with porting the game into a new engine so it looks better. But as you're seeing in the background, this is multiple different types of combat. It started off with infantry combat a little bit, moved straight over to tanks, and in a little bit you're going to see planes. And I'll stop talking here in a moment and just maybe put music on in the background so you can experience what it feels like to play this game. It's a ton of fun. It also, as you're seeing here, you can multi-crew the vehicles. Like, there's bombers that you can fly across the entire map and bomb factories, which will affect the game substantially. You can multi-crew that, so you can have a pilot, a co-pilot, a gunner, like all of that. You have for your tanks, you have a driver, a commander, a gunner. You don't have a loader, but you sometimes have a somewhat of like a tail gunner on your tank, and it's really good. Some, like this Sherman in particular, has a bow gunner that you can also play as. And there's just multiple different things that this game takes from other games and has already created previously in its 21-year life cycle. And I forgot to show it because I had used all my footage already, but this game also plays at night, and the developers during the winter, closer to Christmas, will also add snow. And if I'm correct, there's also rain that happens in this game. And before I stop talking, to top it all out, there's 2 ways to play this game. One is free to play. You get reserve SMGs, which are just normal SMGs with a little less ammo. Bolt action rifles. You get a free paratrooper. I think you can even fly the transport plane for the paratroopers while free to play. A free to play tank, I do believe. And a free to play fighter jet, which they... not fighter jet, fighter plane, which they recently added, which is a lot of fun. Or, to help support the game, since it's free to play with the option to subscribe, it unlocks access to all the weapons in the game, and all the tanks, all the planes, all of that. And the reason they do the subscription is since they are a smaller studio with a smaller player base, it's so they can still afford on a regular basis to pay people to come in and like add new artworks, add programming features, help fix bugs, all of that. And since they don't want to turn people away with a one-time purchase, so they do the subscription or free to play, which there's a ton of people that have been playing for, I'd say, at least a decade on free to play. I've been talking your ear off long enough. I'm going to try and slap on some music. Hope you guys enjoyed this different type of video. I'll let you go. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. God bless.